TV presents Crafting Corner, and here with this week's craft is your host, Virginia Foster.
Hi, I'm Virginia and welcome to Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be making marbled paper with oil paints. To do this, you're going to need a tub of water with about an inch of water in it. It's not going to take a whole lot of water, it's just going to take a little bit. You need cardstock paper. You can try to use construction paper, but it's probably going to be too thin and it's probably going to fail miserably. So you're going to want something thicker than regular cardboard paper. You also need different color oil paints. Oil paints can be expensive. I wouldn't recommend just a white tub like this. This is $20, so I would not go out and buy huge things of oil paint. That's going to cost you a lot. You can pick up cheap little things of oil paint for about, all of these are about $5. You're also going to need paint thinner or turpentine. If you're going to do this indoors, I wouldn't recommend getting the big, thick iron thing of paint thinner. It's gonna smell up the place. It's gonna be really, really strong. You can pay a few extra dollars for odorless turpentine. Another thing you're going to need is little bamboo sticks. You'll need this for multiple reasons. You're gonna make your comb out of these, and you're also gonna use them to stir the paint and turpentine together. The last thing you're going to need is just plastic cups to put together your paint and turpentine. So with all of that, let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is make our comb. Just pull out a random color of cardstock. Comb doesn't have to be pretty. Oh, this is really thick. Okay. So you're just gonna cut 2 thin strips of your cardstock. And then you're going to take your bamboo sticks, and honestly, you could probably break these in half. We're on a college budget here, so make the most of what you have. And you're going to line these up. Here, let me move that out of the way. You're going to line these up like this. And then after you've just lined these up, you're going to tape them down. This comes in handy later when you actually pour the paint on top of your water, and it's going to swirl your colors together so that you don't just have random blotches of colors here and there. So, tape, doesn't really matter what kind. I have a feeling that's about to run out though, so we're gonna switch over to the other kind. Almost done. Oops. Okay, when doing this craft, people would usually, if you mind a mess, I would wear gloves because it can get messy. If you're doing it with kids, I would definitely wear gloves. But for the most part, I'm not gonna put on gloves. I don't mind the mess. When you do this with kids, they are gonna have to have help because kids do not need to be playing with turpentine, and they also probably shouldn't play with scissors. So I would recommend at least 6 years or older to do this craft. Okay, and we're about to have a really lovely comb here. Last piece of tape. There you go. So this is your comb. This is what you're going to use to stir up the water later on. And we can just set that aside for now. Okay, now you're going to pick another sheet of cardstock. Honestly, if you use white, it'll be cool, but it's not going to be as cool as if you used a color. Pastels usually work best because oil paints are usually very bright and very bold. So I'm just going to pick the blue one because it's right here on top. And then now that I've picked my color, you know what? We're actually going to go to a commercial, and we will continue this when we get back.
Life is exhausting. We work, socialize, play, shop, work out. We get so busy we forget to take care of ourselves. That's where Lightning Energy can help. Lightning Energy not only fills you with vitality, but it is jam-packed with vitamins and antioxidants to keep you powered through the day. Nutritionists and dietitians have given Lightning Energy an A+ for its natural factors. Next time you're feeling tired, grab Lightning Energy. You'll feel like you were energized by lightning.
Welcome back to Crafting Corner. I have started pouring paints into our cups. Like I said, you're going to want to use cheap oil paints for this because you're just about to thin it back out and pour it into some water. So if you use small tubs like this, you're probably going to want to use all the oil paint that's in there. And when you're beginning, you're going to want to use light colors because blending different colors will just kind of make a big brown mess on the water and it won't actually look cool. So if you actually want this to turn out decently cool, I would use colors that are kind of in the same family. For example, blues and greens will always do good together. And I would risk it and throw in another color, but I don't feel like running this, so we're not going to do that. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is start slowly adding your turpentine. Like I said, this is odorless, so the fact that it's inside isn't going to damage anybody. And you're just going to add a little bit at a time. And then you're just going to stir it up. Oil paints are going to be harder to mix up than, say, acrylic paints just because they're really actually thick. I may have added too much turpentine to this. I may have to mix this in with another color. No, that may not be too thick. Okay, so there's one color. We're gonna add turpentine to this one. And I almost mixed that in. I would have just made that the same color. So be sure you pick up another stick and don't do what I just almost did. You can do this with other paints besides oil paint. Oil paint's probably the most expensive way to go, but it's also the least messy. Lots of people do this with spray paint, but if you're gonna do it with spray paint, I would suggest you take that outside because it's gonna make a huge mess. Okay, this one actually needs more turpentine. Ooh, it's splashing. Okay. And for the sake of time, we're actually just going to use two colors so that you can see what this does. This is still going to need more turpentine though. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Okay. Now very carefully, you're just going to pour this on the top of the water. And this is going to take a couple attempts to get it perfect. As you can see, if it's not thick enough, it won't stay on the top, and if it's too thin, it still won't work. Like this one's going to be thinner than that one is, so we'll see what it does. Okay. This is where your comb comes in handy. Your colors won't mix by themselves all that well. So you're just going to use this to lightly brush over the top of the water. Okay. After you've brushed the water, like I said, this is going to take a couple attempts to actually get down. You're going to want to bend it hamburger style like this. Dip it onto the top of the water. And then pull it back up. And this is a little runny, but when it dries, it'll be really cool. This is your marbled paper. I know it seems like a random craft, but it's actually become very popular. People have started taking car rims, and this is gonna be hard to hold up. People have started taking car rims, and they've also take, as weird as it is, like bones after they've been hunting, and they'll do this to that. So marbled paper, everybody. This is what it looks like. And this has been Crafting Corner with Virginia. I hope you all have an absolute marvelous day.